Okay, so firstly, Jordan Drew, he's saying, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for your content. It's really helping me grow my knowledge and understanding of the industry.
Oh,
so that's always a nice
lovely
way to start. So we have a little backstory for this one.
Okay.
It's saying, I've just completed my BA degree in music, but I'm uncertain about the future of my musical career. I currently work 4 days a week, which provides a stable income, but is not where I want to be working for long. The trouble is, I have little time outside of work to focus on my music career. I have an idea of what I'd like to do, composing, as well as a promotions company for upcoming artists. So the question is, should I continue to fit music around my job, or should I take a leap of faith and quit my job and possibly move to a city to really push my music career?
So the question is, shall we go for it or shall we not? Yeah, and so it's a bit of a shit or bust time, because finishing the music degree and next thing is, shall we really go for it, or is that going to be a bit of a worry and shall we play it safe? Now, I am a bit of an extreme kind of guy, so I'm going to give you extreme
most extreme.
but I do feel like when it comes to this sort of stuff, when we talk about this thing, the reason why I think you should be asking these questions is because when you ask friends and family advice, they are always going to give you the advice that A, they feel like you want to hear, or B, that's going to protect you. And I'm not going to try and protect you, because I don't need to try and not hurt your feelings. I'm going to try and give you impartial advice. So this is what I think. I feel like you have done a music degree, therefore you have committed a massive amount of time, energy and money in getting this far. And this hasn't just been the degree, but before the degree, but we're looking at 5-6 years worth of hard work to get to the point where you've finished your music degree. You've committed this far. Now, with all that having happened, for me, why would you want to do anything else? But why would you want to stop the progression? And I think that's what it comes down to, stopping that progression. When you take on a full-time job, you are limiting your time and your energy on your project, and therefore when it comes to competing, that makes it very difficult. I say this a lot when I go into workshops at colleges and universities, and for anyone who's at college and university right now, when you finish in 1, 2 or 3 years time, at that moment, you have to compete, which means as a bass player, you have to compete with me. And I am fucking awesome. So you've got to take that into consideration. So when it comes to finishing your degree, that's the time you go. That's why you've got this far, you've come for it. My advice is, yes, you go for it. Because if you've got extenuating circumstances, if you've got family to look after, and you have to make a certain amount of money to look after children, then you've got to be careful. You've got to take other people around you into consideration. But if you are just finishing college and you can go out there and put all the stuff that you've learned into practice, then you're young. I'm assuming if you finish your degree, you're 21, 22 years old. Go and spend the next 3 or 4 years with as little outgoing as possible. Make just enough money to get by, and put all of your time and all of your energy into the thing that you love to do. Because if you get to 25, 26, 27 years old and it hasn't worked out and you have failed at it, and I use fail as it's not the right word because you're always learning, but if you have got to the point where you don't want to do it anymore and you feel like you've come far enough and it's not worked out for you, then you're not too old for another career. 26, 27 is young. You're going to retire at the age of 65, 70 odd. So from 20 to 70 is 50 years. If you spend the next 3, 4, 5 years of your life experiencing, learning and going for it, then you're going to come out of it with a lot more experience. It might not work out for you, or you might do it and decide you don't like it, but at least you've given it the shot. And there's nothing worse than when I go back home to Swansea, and if some of my friends are watching from Swansea, where I grew up, when I hear excuses where people didn't go for it and they're regretting their choices about not going for it, it pains me. And I'd rather think that I went for something and didn't do it rather than I just didn't try. So for me, it is about extenuating circumstances around you and your family. But for me, I would bring my outgoings down to nothing. I would go and find, this is selfish, but I would go and find friends that I could say, look, I need your help. You need to let me sofa surf with you for a while so I can take my outgoings down to a bare minimum. Once I've got my outgoings down to hundreds instead of thousands, then what I would do is I would go and find a job that completely revolves around me doing this. So it wouldn't be taking up too much energy. I would find something which was mornings or early mornings, so that I've then got all day to be able to work on my passion and my project. And I think things like, a lot of people when they leave college, musicians go into things like being a postman because they finish at early times, or delivery drivers because they can work their times around their passion and their energy. The most important thing is that you're not coming home tired, without any energy, and you can't put the work that you need to do into this project, because you'll be surprised how quick you can build something when you're working on it every single day, and how fast you can overtake everybody else if you're working on something every single day. Because most people don't. Most people work on it as a hobby in their spare time. So if you make this into your job, then you'll be surprised how fast it will build and how far you can go. So my advice to you is, depending on your extenuating circumstances with family and dependents and that kind of stuff, but if it's just fresh out of college, for me, I would 100% up. I'd go to the city, which I felt probably helps the most. Whether that's for you, that's London, Manchester, Brighton, whichever one feels has got the most opportunity, and I would go there. Because at the moment, you're young, you don't have those things holding you back, and you will have those things holding you back in 10, 20 years, because you will meet someone and get married and probably and do all those other things. Whilst you haven't got that, and you've just got the startings of your career, why not go for it? Why not take two? Because when people are scared to say that, people say, oh, really, what if you go for it and what happens if it doesn't work out? Well, what happens if you go traveling for 2 years? What happens if you just say, I'm going to go and see the world, and I'm going to go and spend all my money by going and traveling to Australia and America and Fiji and all those places? You're still going to come back in 2 years with loads of great experiences, no money, and no more job opportunities than you had beforehand. So what's the difference between spending those 2 or 3 years getting your head down and working like an absolute motherfucker, so that in 2 or 3 years' time you are further towards your goal? That's what I would suggest. So in my humble opinion, go for it, because there's nothing worse than regretting not going for it later on in life when it's too late and you've got too much things riding on it.
So motivational.
Oh, thanks very much.